Okay, we're going to get started here in just a moment. I'm going to allow for a few more to join us. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, my name is Michelle Keenan, and I'm part of the InView team, and I want to welcome you today to our live demo. The topic is presets. So we're going to talk about how to create a preset to save you time for easy setup during your your prep for your client galleries and your IPS. So the key idea is, like I said, to create a quick setting for your themes, which are the look and the feel, as well as any of your settings that you would use continually when creating an IPS or a client gallery. And so those are called presets. There are 4. So each set, there's 2 for IPS and 2 for the client galleries. And one is a quick setting and one, again, is the theme. And so as we go through here, please feel free to jot some questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer those along the way, but we will try to get through this quickly. I know that not everybody has a lot of time throughout the day as this is busy season. So if you do have an account with us and you want to follow along, I advise you to open up your InView account and go to your gallery manager. And I'm going to share my screen here a moment. And if you don't see my screen, please make sure you let me know so that I can make adjustments. All right. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. And we are now to the admin area. All right. So under galleries in your gallery manager, you see where it says presets. You can also just click on your gallery manager, and what that does is takes you to your list of events that you have created. And we're going to get there. And then at the top, you have several topics, and this is going to be your preset topic right here. So you simply can click on presets. And we're going to go ahead and start setting up your preset. So if you look here, I already have a couple of settings here that I've created. So what you want to do is create a preset. And I'm going to go ahead and show you here. You'll see the client gallery and the IPS. And remember, I told you there's 4 total presets. There is, a set of gallery settings for both IPS and the client gallery, but also theme settings for both client gallery and the IPS gallery. And basically the difference here, like I said, was the gallery settings. This is, it includes the access and security, selling, culling, room view, the digital downloads, review, and messaging settings. Now, the theme is how to set your galleries look and feel. And last week we talked about themes and how to set the look and feel for your IPS session and your client galleries. And this is a way to set that so that you don't have to create that each and every time that you create an event. All right, so here I'm going to go ahead and select Create Preset. And I am going to go ahead and create my gallery setting first. And then notice here, it gives me the option to choose which one I want to design first. So I'm going to go ahead and select and set my client gallery first. So you want to give the preset a name. So if you have, for example, a setting for weddings, or maybe a high school senior, or a baby, or a family, or maybe you have different brands that you want to set a specific setting for or preset for, then you want to give it that name. So I'm just going to name this weddings. Next. Oh, I already have that. So we will do InView brand. All right, next. So here it has the gallery setting. You can change that at any, or the preset name, you can change that at any time. So we have the gallery settings, and this lets you know that you are editing and creating a preset for the client gallery. So over here is each setting that is included in a preset. So we're going to start by access and security, which is highlighted in pink. So if you ever are not sure where you're at in your settings, it'll be highlighted in pink on whichever setting you're on. All right. So here you see a little checkbox that says include in the preset. Now, if you have a default expiration date within your client gallery settings, you want to make sure that you include that in your preset. Now, InView's default is 60 days. Maybe you want to create some additional urgency and you want to change the date to 30. So now that's done. Do you want this to be password protected every time? If so, you want to make sure that's included. And if you don't, then you can just turn it off. If you want to include in the preset a watermark your images, then you can select which watermark you would like to apply. So let's take a look here. We have several different options. So you can use the default studio. All right. And then if this is a boudoir event or preset that you want to include, then you would check mark that on and you would toggle that on, and it gives you a whole nother set of options. So we'll leave that unchecked for now. And then the client access, if you want to include this as part of your galleries within your website, then you would make sure you include that. And then the parent collection, which would be the different collections. And we'll cover that on another live demo. But at this time, I will just include that. And then the guest options. In this setting, it gives you the option to allow guests to extend the gallery. And what that means is they pay a certain fee to extend the gallery, and InView does that for you and for your customer. They pay for it and check out of the cart. The funds do go to InView, but if you don't want them to do that, you want to make sure that that is off. All right, but still included. Okay, the guest sharing include in a preset. If you want to allow your guests to share with several different sharing options, then you want to keep those checked on. If you do not want them to share via Twitter, Pinterest, or Facebook, you would just uncheck those, and those would not be included in the preset option. Okay, so now that we've gone through the access and security presets, then you want to make sure you hit save right here. That's important. And then once you've done the save, then you go through to the selling and you would do the same. You want to make sure you include this within the preset. If you want to enable the shopping cart, you want to have that turned on, and also include in the preset which price list you want to make sure that you are offering. Okay. And so this is really great too if you're doing, maybe you have a different price list for your second sale, or maybe you have friends and family, or your pricing is different for more portrait versus your sports price list, then you would make sure that you would include the different price lists within that preset. And like I said, you can create as many as you would like. Okay. All right. And then fulfillment options include in the preset. If you're choosing to do automatic fulfillment and ship to the studio or the customer, you want to make sure that that is toggled on. Or if you're just doing manual fulfillment and you want to include in the presets, shipping rates, or any notes, you want to allow notes for the order, you could toggle that on. I highly recommend it, including the presets, allowing cropping on if you offer that option. Okay. All right. And then Looks like discounts. If you're offering any type of discount, then you want to make sure that's toggled on. You would select your discount option. So if it's a second sale or maybe they've already chosen their images, and they also bought some digital files and you're delivering those, but you have the cart enabled in hopes that, they purchase with you versus going somewhere else, you have that option to put on a discount to get your professional lab products. Okay, so you can include that or not. That's an option. And then any gift certificates, if you want to allow them to purchase gift certificates to share with others, you can toggle that on. And again, once you're done, you go back up to this top and hit save. And then it takes you down to the additional culling, room view, digital download. So you want to make sure that those are all included. And we'll just click through there really quick, depending on what ratings. Include in presets, the favorites folder. So if you're creating multiple favorites folders in the client gallery, you want to make sure that you include the name of the folder and add additional. And you can also use a image limit. So you type that in, add another wall art. So that would all be included in there. Okay. All right. Let me just check to see if I have any chats here. No chats. Okay. No questions. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move down to room view. And you want to make sure you include room view on there, toggle that on, hit save. And then once you're done with room view, you go down to your digital downloads, and that's when you include that into your presets. You can then toggle that on and get additional options. So if you know that you want to offer every time the option for web resolution downloads or original, maybe you want to turn on the watermarks or turn it off, include a license and then a pen, then that gives you the option to select the pen for those. File limit 25, let's just say, and usage of the pen. So that's if you choose to use those settings. That's what those are there for. So you don't have to do this every time you create an event. All right, to review and messaging, this is the next step. So if you want to include the same message every time, then you want to make sure that you include that in the preset as well. If you want to make sure that this is part of the review option, then you want to toggle that on. Then you can type in your message here. Or thank them for the memories that they shared with you. And okay, so then you would choose save, and it could be any type of message. You could do that on your own. So once that's done, you have set up your gallery settings for the client gallery. So look here, this is the one that I had created in View Brand. So now I want to move on to the theme settings. Okay, and again, I still have some selected here, but I'm going to create a new preset, and it's going to ask me which type of gallery. So it's going to be my gallery set, or no, sorry, I apologize. I'm going to go back to the client gallery. My apologies, I did that wrong. Create, I'm going to do theme setting for the client gallery. And then again, I'm going to keep it consistent. Next. So remember, the theme setting is, this is where you create a preset for the look and the feel of your client gallery. So this could be your color branding. This could be for high school senior girl versus a guy, or maybe it's, the wedding colors of that of a certain customer. So I'm going to go in and include the preset. And if you know your style is full screen, or maybe you like framed, split, simple, or mosaic, then you would choose the screen option. The title, if you like the title in the middle versus the bottom or the top, then you would set that. Again, with the alignment, this is the center, left, or right. So if you're unfamiliar with what these are and you have not gotten in and poked around in the theme settings in a gallery, I advise you to do that, or you can go in and watch one of our other live demos that talks about the look and the feel and the theme from last week. There should be a replay on Facebook group. All right, so then you want to include a fade, however you like it. So the background fade, the background color fade, title line. So if you know you're going to be consistent with the title, you're going to say the same thing over and over, then you would want to put that there. And I put that there so you can see what it looks like. And if you wanted a second option for a title, then you can do that. And then title color. So this is where you would change the title's color. I typically choose to do that color, but you can do anything that you would like. The studio name. So this is if you want the text of your studio name off, but want to include your logo. I like that option to hide that. So I am going to now save. And here's where you choose the colors of the look and the feel of your branding. So you can plug in any color number you want here, or you could use the color picker to choose a color. So we'll just choose one for now. Okay, and you can modify these, but I do again advise you to go through these so that you know where they are displayed before you choose them in a preset. So I'm going to hit save now. Brand and studio information, if you want to include your brand information here, that's where you would do so. And I'll do the default brand for now. And some studios have multiple brands. So, you might want to have a preset already set for each different brand. So you don't have to set that up every time. And then how the image is displayed. So here's where you would choose the gutter width, the image resolution, and then do you want to hide the file names or keep them? But then again, start with the initial category. So it looks like we do have a question. Okay, can you make the second title smaller? And yes, absolutely. Carl, you can do that. It gives you the option to set the font for that. So we can go back and take a look at that, but yes, you can. All right, so I'm going to hit save there. Let me go back here just for a moment for you, Carl, and let's just take a look here. The title line. You should be able to actually not in the preset. So that was a very good question. What you would do is go back and modify the font size in the gallery once you have it all set up. So this would be the initial option, just a standard font. So I'm going to put this so you can at least see it when we create it. All right. That's a very good question, but you can modify that. All right, so we've gone through those. Now I can exit out, and we've now set the theme for the client gallery, for the gallery settings and the theme settings, and the same would be similar for the IPS session, just a little bit different settings. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the gallery settings for the IPS session. And I'm going to do gallery settings for an IPS session this time. And I'm going to name this one Okay, So I'm gonna go through these just a little bit faster on this because now you kind of see how it works. But the different settings are a little bit different for an IPS session. So you want to include the preset, and this is your workflow. So if you're following InView's workflow, then you're good. You can save and move on. But if you want to make adjustments, then you would just need to, actually, it's not going to let you customize it. You would exit out. Maybe you don't want a welcome screen. Maybe you don't want a slideshow. You would X out of that. Okay. And then you would hit save. All right. And then the same with selling. You want to make sure that your cart is turned on if that's what you want to allow during your IPS session, which I would assume that you would want that. And then select your price list. Show pricing. I'm going to toggle that on because I can control that during my IPS session when using dual view. Include the preset. Okay, this will be manual. And all right, real view. So real view is also included in the preset. And this is if you are displaying images in real size, whether you're projecting onto a wall, a projector screen, or a television. So you'd want to include that size in there if you plan to utilize that every single time. Yes, I do have a video on price list and I'll share that with you, but we are going to be talking about that next week. So I'll make sure to include you in that information here shortly. Okay, so if you know your and the length in inches is the same every time because you're going to be utilizing this in your studio, then you would put that in there. All right, hit save. Slideshows. All right, this is not part of a preset. There's lots that we have to include in there, but that is coming soon. And then in the culling option, you want to definitely make sure that this is in there because if you know you use 5-star or 4-star ratings, yes, maybe no, or yes and no every single time, then you want to include that. And then your initial culling view when you're in to compare images and make image selections with your client. And then favorites folders, of course, are very similar to the client galleries. I don't want to have to create these every single time. And if I know I'm going to use them every single time, then I highly recommend you doing this every time. So if you know that you plan to sell an album every time in wall art and gift prints, then you should create those folders and include those in your presets. All right, I'm gonna hit save now. And we're gonna move on to room view. You wanna make sure that that's included as well if you plan on selling wall art and large portraits. Hit save. Now you're done with the brand preset for your IPS gallery settings. So now we're gonna move on to the theme. So we're going to do theme settings for an IPS session. Next step, welcome screen, use full middle. Okay, title line. I probably would change that every time because I like to put the client's name on there. So I'm going to leave that off. And then include that. Okay, and hit save. And then the colors. I want to keep it my brand information or color. So I'm going to try to keep that consistent. All right, and I'm going to hit save, brand, and include that, default brand, save. And the image display is the same. So it's very, very similar, except for a few different settings for the IPS versus the client gallery. Okay, so now that we've gone through and we've created the gallery and IPS settings, quick settings and theme settings for both. And now we have those in there. And like I said, you can create as many as you want for both. And then I advise you to anything that's going to make things quicker and more simple and save you a little bit of time in creating your event. So I highly suggest that. Okay, so now what we do is I want to show you how to apply that when you are creating a client gallery. So when you go in and create a new gallery, whether it's IPS or a client gallery, and when it opens up, it's going to give you the event name. Okay, and your event date. Hit next. And I'm going to upload some images here. I just drag and drop some here. So it goes kind of fast. Oh. Now my cloud open yet. All right, there we go. So now that is, those are uploading. And notice down here, it shows you the uploading. And then now when I go to set up my in-person sales session, it's going to ask me what the client's name is. So we will do, okay. Continue. All right, so here's where the presets come into play. So you see here, it says quick settings and save themes. So all you have to do is click on this little arrow and choose which preset you want for your IPS session. So I'm going to choose the one that we just selected, and that would be the same with the theme, which is the look and the feel. So then you would select that and hit finish. All right. And so now you have the welcome screen, which is the one image. So now you can go in and just simply modify your welcome screen. And then Carl, this is where you would go in and modify your text line if you had put it there. And if you wanted to, you can make this font larger and then add an additional line. And that could be a different font, and it could be smaller text if you wanted it to. So then you can make any types of adjustments. And notice here, just a quick tip, that in the settings over here, remember the presets for the slideshow are coming soon and it's not quite in there. So this tip is, this warning sign lets you know that your slideshow needs images, and because you hadn't created that in the presets. So this gives you a warning that says, hey, this is something that you need to set up because this was included in your IPS workflow setup. So then what you would do is you would add the images here at the bottom. My apologies here. Could get that off there. So you can select those images, select, and now it's got those in the slideshow, and you can customize that and hit save. And now that is all set and ready to go. So basically just very few little things that you may need to do to make adjustments in your presets when you're creating an IPS session or a client gallery, but it's the same for a client gallery. So when I go back to my event dashboard and hit setup, it's again going to ask me, which ones do I want to apply to this event? And then I can hit finish, and it's created all of that for me. So now I don't have to do anything else. Otherwise, I'd have to go through each of these and set those up every single time. And again, we wanted to give you as much control as possible, but also make it as simple as possible for you. So, all right. So is there any more questions in regards to the presets? All right. Now, one more thing that I want to talk to you about, and that is applying presets to existing events. So you want to make sure that if you want to apply a quick setting to an existing event, when you go into your gallery manager here, let me get to that and go to presets. Here's where you can manage all of those. But within the gallery, when you open it up, because this is a question we do get, and I just wanted to share that. If I wanted to change it. Right, so right here, presets. So I can then change it here if I wanted to and apply it to an existing gallery or just change it. So maybe you wanted to change it to your second sale gallery settings for IPS or a different theme you wanted to change. Maybe your branding colors have changed. So you can do that, but you do have to go into that event, individual event, and apply it here. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Any other questions in regards to the presets and how those work and how to manage those? All right, good deal. Well, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera back on if that's okay. I just want to talk to you guys and tell you goodbye. All right. Hello, hello. Hi, Carl.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Sandy. Rachel.
Hello.
Thank you guys for joining me today.
You're
I really
welcome.
appreciate that. I know there's so many pieces that are moving and that kind of come together at some point, you know, throughout your journey in InView and getting everything set up, or maybe you're deciding to use a different tool and feature that we have that you haven't already. And so we know there's a lot to it, and that's why we're trying to break it down into pieces and small features just to show you how that feature works. And so you have those tools when you're building that out for yourself. But so next week, we are going to be focusing on a simplified price list. So we're going to start with the easy button of a price list, you know, so what is simple and quick and fast. And then we will continue into an advanced price list where you're setting up pro custom products and pro custom packages and maybe some cards and albums and things like that. But I do have some that I have created for a live demo before, and I'll share those with you, Carl. I'll make sure that I send that little link in there so you'll have that. But if there isn't any other questions today, I'm going to wrap up, but I do appreciate you guys. Any other questions?
You know, for me, it's like more of the price list thing. So I'll wait till we
you're
get
muted,
there.
Carl. Oh, there you go. Let me see.
Okay.
Thank you.
how about-
There you are. There you are.
So yeah, for me, it's more of like the price list and trying to figure out how to tier things down. Like, you know, like when I sell an 8x10, if I wanted to add like mounting to it or texture to it, are there ways to add, you know, add those on? But I won't put the cart before the horse. So I'll wait till we get there.
Well, I could certainly show you that one-on-one for sure. And then we next week is the live demo on it. So I'll share that with you, and then you can also join there because there might be some other nuggets in there that other people are sharing on how they build their price list.
Gotcha.
But I appreciate you joining. but
Yeah,
I'll reach out to you for sure, one-on-one for that.
Yeah, I'm all in. Yesterday, I dismantled my shoe-proof account. I took down like 60,000 images off there. So there's no turning back. And here's my studio, part of it.
Oh, look at that. So you're home.
I'm back. Well, I'm not at home. I'm at work.
You're at work. Homework. Back in your same
I'm
stuff.
not in Missouri anymore.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot here. So I know it gets hot where you are, but it's just humid hot.
I'm actually in Flagstaff, which is a
Oh,
lot
you are?
warmer.
Okay.
Yeah, Flagstaff tends to like be like 70, 80 degrees max. And then summer, we may get to 90, but you know, it's cool until it gets to winter time, then it gets ugly.
It's like 97, 99 degrees here this week. It's ridiculous with the Kansas, Missouri humidity. So
I don't miss it at all. I came back with poison ivy from cutting down weeds. So
no. That's awful.
yeah.
That's
All right,
awful.
well, thank you. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. All right, bye.
Bye.